Whether you're working on your first property or not, this is where you lose all the money. It's not your property, it's the people. I remember getting started in real estate investing, my very first flip, and it was an absolute disaster working with the first contractor. At this point in my career, I had no clue what it really took to renovate a property. So when he gave me a price of about $80,000 to $90,000 to renovate it, I assumed it was good. But in reality, it was gonna cost about $150,000 to $160,000. So a few months into the project, he just simply sends me a text and says, well, I can't finish the job because I'm gonna lose money, good luck. So here I am, a brand new investor, thought I had a good relationship going, and next thing you know, it completely falls apart. Thankfully, I had good coaches and good mentors that still help me to this day. They were able to come in, help me find a new general contractor, and we were actually able to make some money on the deal. Hey, my name is Zach, and for nearly the past 10 years, all I've done is breathe, eat, and sleep real estate, and I've successfully taken properties that look something like this and completely renovate them and turn them into something just like this. Today, I'm gonna give you 4 simple steps that are gonna help you find the right contractor, and you're gonna even hear from one of the guys that I work with to help you how he sees it from his point of view. So step 1 is you have to figure out what you need. Like most things in real estate investing, if you don't know why you're doing something or what you need out of it, it's gonna completely blow up. Very first thing you need to do is define the scope of work. Before you even go looking for a contractor, you need to understand exactly what you need done at that project. Do you need plumbing? Do you need electrical, foundation work? Do you need to even get permitting? Do you need just general remodel? What do you need is gonna determine who you go look for. And look, we've all seen those stories of people going to Home Depot and just hiring the first person they see, but that might not be the best thing you wanna do. Sometimes your project is gonna absolutely require you to hire someone who is licensed and insured because you're gonna need permits. Another part of this is you need to know the difference between a specialist and a general contractor. If you're gonna do a full gut job, taking everything down to the studs, you're gonna need to replace electrical, and plumbing, and flooring, and paint, the whole thing, you're definitely gonna wanna go with a general contractor. They're gonna specifically do things like painting and flooring, countertops, appliances, and they're gonna help you to manage everybody. But if you just have some small upgrades and maybe you just need some painting or some flooring, then you're gonna wanna go with someone very specific who focuses on that. This is gonna help you save money because a general contractor is gonna charge you a little bit more because they need to get paid as well. Here's a little bonus tip for you. Create a written scope of work with estimated timelines to get accurate bids. Also, you want to aggressively get those bids. Don't just take the very first contractor like I did and just go with it. You want to shop around, get experience, get references, and get reviews on that contractor. So step 2 is so important because where do you find these contractors? There's gonna be so many ways that you're gonna be able to find different contractors, and here's some of the ways that I find them. One of the best ways is you can get simply a referral from another investor or real estate agent. Someone in your market that you know, that you trust, that you've built relationships with. They're gonna have a whole team, usually, especially if they've been doing this for a long period of time, a whole team of people that they work with that they have no problems hiring out to you or letting you use them. This is going to be a great and fantastic way for you to completely vet their reliability, their pricing, and their quality of work. Because let me tell you, you absolutely get what you pay for in contractors. But if you hire someone that is really good quality, you're gonna pay a little bit more, but it's worth it in the end all day. Another way you can find good contractors is gonna be through Facebook groups or through simple meetups in your local area. Attending local real estate investor meetups, going to different networking events, completely getting outside of your comfort zone if you're not a people person like me, is gonna be so huge into finding good contractors. Contractors that are good and understand real estate investing needs are gonna show up to these events and wanna network with you because they wanna get paid just like you do. Now, if that doesn't work, you can always try different websites like homeadvisor.com, Angie's List. They'll have tons of reviews from people, but keep in mind, a lot of these people are not gonna be investors, so you have to approach it with caution. Another way that I love to find it is simply you just drive around. If you have a lot of construction going on in your area with new home builders, or if you're just driving around and you see construction, stop. They may have a sign in the front yard that you can call and get quotes. You want to do things like look for work trucks, crews working, or even potentially active flips. All you have to do sometimes is just simply approach them and say, hey, are you taking on any other jobs right now? One of the other really phenomenal ways that you can find good contractors is with local property managers. A property manager is just someone who simply manages rental property for other owners and investors. They are gonna have all the connections with so many different trades, different levels of trades for different various jobs. They usually know who's good for large scale guts, all the way down to just simply doing touch-up painting. And lastly, you can also go to local building supply stores like your Home Depot and your Lowe's and look for people there. But you can go inside and ask the pro department, hey, who do you recommend for flooring? Who do you recommend for countertops? They a lot of times have great resources for you to call. Here's one huge big bonus tip. Please avoid going to places like Craigslist or just using unverified one-off referrals unless you can fully vet them to know who they are and their quality of work. Which leads me into step 3. How do you actually screen and vet these contractors the right way? There are several questions that you want to ask before you hire them. Number 1, biggest question, are you licensed and are you insured? While yes, sometimes that doesn't matter if they're just doing some simple touch-up painting or maybe they're just installing some light bulbs or something very simple, but if you're doing a full gut job or a lot of flooring or a lot of plumbing work and they're not licensed or insured, you could be on the hook if something breaks, goes wrong with the tenant, or if that person gets hurt working at your house. Another phenomenal question, can you provide at least 3 recent references? Now, depending on how big of a company they have, they may be able to provide you 3 references in the past year, in the past few months, but you want to get at least 3 in the past year. This is going to show that they are active, they currently are working, and they potentially know exactly what they're doing for the job you need. Lastly, another huge question is, what is your payment structure? A lot of times, if you have a big job that's going to take a few months to do, that contractor wants all the money up front. That is a huge red flag. Most contractors are going to want a little bit up front so they can get materials, pay their guys, and they're going to want to get paid maybe every 2 weeks, every week, every month, depending on how big and how large your job is. If they don't have a payment structure, you might want to stay away from them. And speaking of red flags, here are some that you absolutely want to look out for. First one is no written contract. If they're just willing to work for you and it's a big job and they don't want to do a contract, huge red flag. This is usually going to tell you that they're not licensed, they're insured, or they may be trying to lie. Another red flag, like I just mentioned, is they are pushing for large upfront payments. If they want to get paid a huge amount, 50, 60, 70% upfront, you may want to consider going somewhere else. Lastly, another huge red flag is if they're being vague on their timeline or their scope of work, they may not really know what they're doing. If they can't simply tell you about how long it's gonna take to paint a whole house that's 3 bedroom, 2 bath, maybe 1,700 square feet, and they can't give you a good timeline, or they say, you know, it might take a month or it might take 5 days. If they can't give you a good timeline, they probably don't know what they're doing or have never done it before. Biggest thing, please request photos. Check everything, and if possible, visit a current job site. Before we get into step number 4, if you found this video useful at all, don't forget to like and subscribe. Step number 4, contracts, communication, and control. You want to get everything in writing, from payments, scope of work, timeline, responsibilities. Everything should be in that contract. Now, if you are doing a very small, simple job like just touch-up painting, you probably don't need it. But if you're doing a full renovation, then please get everything in writing. A part of that contract should be your payment schedule. If it's a job that's gonna require 3, 4, 5 months, you wanna set a good schedule or do it in phases. Never pay all up front. By tying these payments to project stages, it ensures that they get the job done correct, on time, but you're not wasting money as well. And here's a pro tip. Stay involved completely with your projects. Doing things like weekly check-ins or asking for photo updates and being on site regularly helps to avoid costly surprises. I usually do checks every couple days, and I find something, hey, don't forget to do this, or hey, I noticed this is wrong, please check this. And usually the contractors will tell me, oh, we just completely missed that, thank you for telling me. Doing things like this will make sure that things stay on time, on schedule, and most importantly, on budget. Now, let's go talk to my electrician and see exactly what he looks for and how he approaches things with me, a real estate investor. So I'm here with Josh with McCall Electric, and so how important is it for me to know, hey, I need this with my electrical work?
It's vital, actually. The main thing you need to know is, where to start you need to go have a licensed electrician that is insured and licensed to go through your panel, go through all your grounding and your bonding, which is very critical. See the time of the breakers in the panel as far as how old they are. Are they interchangeable with parts that are built today? If they're not interchangeable, okay, as far as your investment goes, I need to change this. That mean if you have a rental, your rental, you go, okay, I need to update this so that way when we have a trouble call from the tenant, we know we can change this. Not, okay, well, I got to put you out on the street for a week to get all your panel stuff changed. And then just making sure everything in the home is proper to code. Your GFIs are good. They're updated. Your lighting, another thing is like a good thing to know as far as investment goes, and whether it's a sell or rent, is your lighting, your security lighting. Are you LED absolutely. As far as, energy efficiency? Your AC unit, that's a two-part deal. Your AC guy needs to come do a checkup on it, but your electrical guy needs to also make sure that everything looks sound. There's no rusting, there's no oxidation. And then one of the biggest things that I always look for in a home or a commercial business anywhere is aluminum wiring. Aluminum wiring is not against the code, but it depends on how it's landed. So if it's landed properly, it's got its, oxidation lubricants on it, it's good to go. But biggest thing we always check on any investment is making sure that all your wire sizes meet the code specs to the breakers they are entering. That is the key.
Especially when you're talking permitting too. If you got to get permits, look, this is all a part of knowing what you need in the beginning, because if you're going to permits, you don't have power, guarantee you the city, county, parish, state, wherever you're at, they're going to make you do stuff.
And they will shut you down and you will not be able to get power until it's all repaired and the permit's pulled and it is passed inspection, period.
So now that we know, all right, we know what we need from the job, how can someone approach, let's say someone calls you, they're a brand new investor, and they're trying to find a good contractor, good electrician, good plumber. What are some questions that they should be asking when finding a good contractor? And this kind of leads into the third step too of how to vet your contractor.
So what I would say is, as my own business owner, is go to what you know and who you know. So you want to go to, if you're in a new area that you've never bought an investment and you don't know anybody, use what you have in your hands. So you can go to any resource as far as on the internet. Now, a lot of times you don't want to trust every review, but you need to do the research as far as looking at a company. You type in that company name. Then the first thing I would recommend is you go look at that company under, say, like LA Board of Contractors or whatever state you may be. Go to that Board of Contractors and check on that contractor. Make sure they have a license. Then once you find out they have a license, you can either go directly to that company or the Board of Contractors in that state and find out if they're insured. Now, once you have that information, you use that information and you go to the sources and you say, okay, this is a company I found. Online, they have a good reputation. They're a 5-star company or whatever they may be. Then try to find the people that who have used them. Go talk to those people. If they have done plenty of commercial buildings, even as simple as going to look at their work. If I've done a McDonald's or a coffee shop, or I've done all of
investment or something,
brick by bricks, rental properties, go ask those people, I'd like to look at their work and actually physically go look at their work. You can also go to the parish or county that they're pulling permits, and you can go to them and say, listen, how many permits have they pulled in a year? How many permit inspections have they passed and have they failed? Like for us, in Ascension Parish, we've probably pulled 100 permits. We've passed every permit. So that's a big deal, because if your inspectors are looking at you and they're passing everything or failing, that's a ratio number, period. So just like a review number, that's a ratio number on knowing how good this contractor is and are they hitting the key on everything they do.
So how important do you feel it is to have the scope of work, whatever it is, even if maybe if it's something real small, a simple job, have it in writing, have a good solid contract with pricing, maybe how long the project may take? How important is that?
It's critical. The contract in my line of work it's a binding, but in hindsight, it's a relationship also. So in the fact of that, meaning like, even though it's paper to paper, it's still a binding relationship because you want to build a relationship with your contractor in order to know that, hey, even though I did a good one, he's going to call me back on the next one and the next one and the next one. Now, as far as a contract goes, look, a contract is a contract, but at the end of the day, you want to feel good when you go to sleep to knowing that my contractor's happy, the subs that I'm working around are happy, and at the end of the day, everybody's been working safe. So as far as contracts go, a contract and a scope of work does you no good if your subs don't work together in communication and you're not working together with your sub or your whoever it may be. So a contract is great if you do the due diligence to keep moving forward in the progression of the work. If you don't, a contract gets sticky because it's like, oh, well, so-and-so said that, you know, it was on this date and this time and the paper says this. Well, things fall behind. So if the plumber's behind, if the stucco guy's behind, if the, you know, the framer's behind, and everybody, things fall back. And as things fall back, prices can change. So contracts are good, but as an investor or a general contractor coming into something new, you need to be prepared to know that, okay, if my contract is $10,000 to do everything, then I might want to be prepared for 15 because, you know, things could fall behind or
things will happen.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Or you buy a new house, you know, and you start gutting it and you go, oh, we've got major plumbing problems, or, you know, we got to change a panel now.
Been there, done that.
Right. You know, so you have to be, as a new investor, you have to be prepared. And you know this, you have to be prepared for what you can't see, but also that comes on your subs. As long as you have good subs that you now can trust, you have to rely on them to find these problems, but you also, which will go into a whole nother category of what questions to ask in that investment to go, okay, did you check this? Did you check that? Are we okay now? Okay, we don't have this cost, or we do, and then where do we move from here? Do we fix it now? Can it wait? You know, things like that.
So how important is it that a new investor is regularly on the job site, maybe once a week, twice a week, especially, or whether or not, honestly, if they have a GC or not, for them to be able to just make sure things are going good, to ask questions, not to, you know, prod and, you know, get in people's way, but to just make sure things are running smoothly? How can they do that the best way, coming from your eyes? Because I know sometimes I'm there a lot, I'm real hands-on. I try not to get in people's way, though. Ask the right questions and then let people work.
I mean, the importance is high because if you're a new investor, whether you have a general contractor or not, or if you're the general contractor and you're controlling your subs, communication is key. And at the end of the day, it is your job. So being that it's your job, it's your responsibility to communicate between you and your subs and try to even reiterate the communication for the sub to sub. So for instance, if I tell you, hey, Zach, as your electrician, today in an 8-hour day, we're gonna have from A to F done. And then you come to me at 2 o'clock and I've got A to C done, then you know, okay, in this a lot of time, you know, I was waiting on you to finish so my granite guy or my plumber can come in behind you. Now you're 4 hours, whatever. You're 4 hours behind. So then, since I'm communicating with the plumber or the granite guy or drywall guy that's supposed to be there tomorrow morning, I now have to push him back. And then asking you, saying, okay, Mr. Electrician, did you call the sub that's supposed to be here tomorrow? And then they say no. Okay, well, I'm going to do that as the new investor or the general, whatever that person may be.
Because sometimes that investor has to be kind of that general contractor if they don't hire one.
And another thing is, we haven't talked about this, but quality. If you want quality, you have to be on site. For instance, if you're a new investor or a new general contractor, or just the guy running the job, if you want quality in your job as a whole, your investment, you have to be there, because most people are there to collect a paycheck. And I'm not talking about the actual owner of these companies. We're talking about the employees of the owners of these companies. The employees are just normal day people. They'll do a good job for the most part, but you still have to check to make sure you're not getting that guy that's like, look, 3:30, I'm ready to go. So the importance of being on site, that to me is the biggest part of quality, because even though like in your jobs, I've seen that, even though we're giving you a good job and say 90% of your subs, there's that one sub. There's always one that's going in, and you go, Zach, I need you to look at this. We found this, even though I'm an electrician, and we go, look at the drywall in this room. It's horrible.
Yeah.
We're gonna let you know, because it's what we see. Every sub that's in a job is around the same work every day. So you kind of know the quality you're supposed to see. So
like, you're gonna know what's good drywall. You're gonna know what's good flooring, because you see it all the time.
Absolutely.
You might not know specifically how to run a full drain sewer line,
right,
but you know what something good
the
and bad
basics.
looks like.
The basics in framing, plumbing, drywall, stucco, roofing,
yep,
everything, even electrical. I mean, there's times where one of your jobs, we might go in and say, look, everything's wired, here it is, but I need you just to fix this. Well, if the walls are open and I can see it all, and I go, whoa, Zach, we got to back up, because over here in this entire room, it's garbage. We need to fix it. To me, that's negligent if you don't tell your investor or your general contractor that this is a problem, because if something happens, guess who it's falling back on? The electrician or the sub that you're having a problem with. So it's vital for you to be on the site at all times, but like you said, not in the sub's hair to where you're driving them nuts. Right, yeah.
Like, I'm coming at you every 5 minutes. Hey, why are you taking a 5-minute break? Well, one, because there's no AC and it's 1,000 degrees in this house.
And the electrician has to put the power on it.
Yeah, sweet. All right, so hopefully you guys learned something today. Don't forget, there's gonna be a free contractor checklist down below that that'll help you vet all your contractors. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, hit that bell notification to get notified when I release new videos. We talk all about real estate investing.